The new podcast, In the Shadow of Princeton, starts as the matriarch of a prominent Princeton family is found stabbed to death in her locked basement. Investigators look from a serial attacker to her family to Princeton University students. One hot-blooded investigator sees a conspiracy. Is he way off base, or does privilege let you get away with murder? In the Shadow of Princeton is available wherever you get podcasts, or you can binge it ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Born on this date in 1948, actress and TV producer Kate Jackson of Birmingham. Now, how many of y'all knew we had a Charlie's Angel from Alabama? She was also the Mrs. King in Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Today is National Oatmeal Day, especially for those of you who've already run out of grits for the week. The acquisition of St. Vincent's facility is nearing. We have good news for walkers, joggers, and bicyclists. And we'll tell you just how tall okra can get. I'll also share some election notes before I go. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. UAB Health System's $450 million purchase of St. Vincent's hospitals from Ascension should become official November 1st, pending final approval, reports AL.com's Walisha Morris for the Birmingham News Digital Edition. UAB President Ray Watts touted the larger medical network as a win for patients. It includes the downtown Birmingham St. Vincent's Hospital, St. Vincent's East, facilities in St. Clair, Blount, and Chilton counties, a freestanding ER in Trussville, the 119 campus, imaging centers, and physicians' offices. In addition to the purchase price, the deal also includes money for capital expenditures that take the cost to $680 million. The state is distributing $21.6 million toward work to benefit pedestrians and bicyclists and users of other non-motorized means of transportation, reports AL.com's Heather Gann. The money is from the Alabama Department of Transportation's Transportation Alternatives Program, and it's going to 31 cities across Alabama. Plans are coming together for sidewalk improvements in Jefferson County, pedestrian safety improvements in Jacksonville, and sidewalks along Wire Road at Auburn University. Now check out Heather's story on AL.com or the project list on ALDOT's website for more. Well, if you've planted okra with at least some success, you know that it's a tall plant. A good field of okra makes you feel like you've done something. Stalks commonly reach 8 or 10 feet or higher, but AL.com's Patrick Darrington reports that Terry and Candace Stevens of Mobile appear to have a world record okra plant in their yard, 16 feet, 10 inches, as recently measured by Bird Surveying. They just about need to have a cherry picker to cut okra. Terry told Fox 10 News that they're first-time okra growers and that they transplanted the plants to the garden back in March. And they're still growing. The current official record is a 2022 okra plant in the New Orleans area that stood 6 inches shorter at 16'4". Hey, we're going to take a quick break and then just shore up some voting rules and odds and ends. Y'all stay with us. Hello, my fellow Alabamians. I want to take a quick break to talk about something that I know y'all are into because you listen to this podcast, the role of news in your daily routine. Well, starting off the day informed is a long-held practice that started with newspapers and coffee and has evolved to podcasts like this one and driving to work. But if you miss the feeling of sitting down with in-depth local reporting, consider subscribing to the Huntsville Times, Birmingham News, or Mobile Press Register digital editions. By subscribing, you'll get a new daily digital edition in an email link, or You can use an app to download the new edition every day on your smartphone or tablet. You also get exclusive access to stories written for our subscribers. Down in Alabama listeners, get your first month free by going to al.com/digital subscription/exclusive and enter the promo code DIA24. Down in Alabama 24. You get that. It's just $10 a month after that to support the reporting that changes laws and lives in our state. Thank you for your support. And now back to the podcast. Today, we're 1 week away from the November 5th election. And like all presidential elections, it's the most important one of our lifetimes. And if you don't vote accordingly, then democracy will cease to exist. I've heard something nearly that dire from voices on both sides this election cycle. What if, for the first time ever, they're both right about it? And either option takes us straight to that one-line death page at the back of the Choose Your Own Adventure novel. It won't, though. Our democracy is not quite as fragile as they make out. It'll help if we remember that whoever wins works for us, and you hold your employees accountable, not just root for or against them. I have a few notes here on the election. Did I mention it's Tuesday? And no matter what you hear, Democrats and Republicans vote on the same day, that day being November 5th, 1 week from today. If you want to check your registration status or your polling place, never particularly bad things to check, you should be able to do that on the Alabama Secretary of State's webpage at sos.alabama.gov. There's a Voting in Alabama link on the main page. And then on the voting page, there's a My Voting Information link. Remember that Alabama requires photo ID to vote. I'm going to run through, just for grins, the cards and documents that meet that requirement as long as they're currently valid. An Alabama driver's license or an ALEA digital license that's not been expired for 60 days or more. An Alabama non-driver ID or an ALEA digital non-driver ID, an Alabama photo voter ID card. That's not your voter registration card, but a photo ID you can get if you don't have any of these other things. A state-issued ID with a photo, such as a corrections release temporary ID, a booking sheet from prison or jail, or a pistol permit. You can have a federally issued ID, a U.S. passport, an employee ID from the federal government, state, county, municipality, board, or other state entity, a student or employee ID, including digital, from a public or private college, university or tech or professional school, student or employee ID, including digital, issued by a state institution of higher learning in any other state, a military ID, or a tribal ID. All right, was that long enough? Things that don't satisfy the requirement include your voter registration card, your high school yearbook photo, your bowling league ID, or your fake ID from spring break 2004. Now, like Catholic communion, the election is closed to those who aren't a member, or in this case, a citizen. Also, if you didn't register, don't steal anyone's identity in order to vote. A nursing home worker was indicted by a grand jury this month on charges that she forged the signature of an incapacitated resident. And one more thing, a heads up for folks in Coleman County. Coleman voters will be voting on a local referendum that would place 15% county sales tax on medical marijuana products. About 2/3 of the revenue would go to the Coleman County District Attorney's Office and the rest to Coleman County's legislative delegation. Now, there's no way to estimate what the revenue would be on that because Alabama's medical cannabis program, of course, is tied up in court over its plan to award business licenses. And once dispensaries open on some undetermined future date, there's no way to know whether any Coleman County businesses would be involved. Well, that's it for now. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. We're going to be back here again tomorrow. Until then, y'all come by and see what we're doing anytime you want to on the internet at al.com.